Welcome everybody to Multikulti. My name is Jason Page and I volunteer here. I usually do most of the IT work and the graphics work for our promotional materials. Multikulti is a grassroots organization by volunteers in the Chicago area for the arts, activism, and culturalism. And we are based mostly by donations from events that we host like this. And we're suggesting a donation of $5. If you haven't done so, you can do so after the presentation if you like. Without further ado, here's Thomas Blatt to discuss his experience around his experience of Sobibor death extermination camp. Thank you.
Good evening. I must apologize because my English, I have a very heavy Polish accent, so I will try to speak slow, and if you don't understand a word or two, I will explain later. My name is Thomas Toivi Blatt, and I'm here because when you come face to face with a survivor, then history comes alive. My talk here is not the academic type derived from studies or data. It is from my own experience, everything I tell you here. The issues of racism, hate, and resistance are interwoven in my story. The interpretation I leave to you. I try as a witness of the Holocaust to give you a personal human dimension, and hopeful that my talk will bring you closer to understand the reality of the experience. In 1939, Germany attacked Poland, starting the Second World War. The treatment of an occupied nation was inhuman, and it led to the destruction of many innocent people. The concept of a new political order based on race was taking shape. People were categorized, labeled, and dealt accordingly. If you imagine a pyramid, on top of the pyramid was, according to Nazi, the German nation, a German born in Germany. Next, lower the pyramid, was the so-called Volksdeutsch, born outside, a German born outside Germany. And even the class of the Volksdeutsche were again divided. Volksdeutsch class 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next were the Aryan nations, like Swedish people, Norwegian, Danish. And all of the received privileges accordingly their class. Further on down were the Slavs, Slav people, Poles, Czechs, Ukrainians, in which the Poles, their destiny was to be, if Germany would win, their destiny was to be slaves for the German nation. Down still farther were the Gypsies and the Jews. And their destiny was to be exterminated, to make place for the German colonization. Genocide has been committed long before the Holocaust, and in fact is committed since the Holocaust. Till now, I'm talking in many places in the world. The question is, what is so different about the Nazi murder of the Jews? Many millions of other people were killed. 6 million Jews, they were killed also 6 million Poles. Why should we single out the Jewish experience for study? what is different and unprecedented is the concept of the organization. For the first time, a genocide of other people, just because of their religion, became a government policy, supported by state law. Having been born in the wrong religion was a deadly sin, punished by death. What's happened over a half a century ago is not only history as much as it is a warning. Now, on January 20, 1942, at a secret meeting called now by historians the Wannsee Conference. Wannsee is a suburb of Berlin, and over there the conference whole place. 15 high Nazi officials were debated the so-called the Jewish problem. On this conference, the question was not to kill the Jews or not, because the killing was already going on in the eastern territories of in the Soviet Union. But over there, it was very primitive, the killing of Jews. They simple machine gun them or with pistols. It was too slow and nerve-wracking for the soldiers. So this conference was looking for a better way to kill, to take out the burden from the soldiers which were killed with which were killed till now with pistols, with rifles, and first of all to speed up the process of killing. As a result of this conference, in very fast succession, 3 death camps were built. A lot of people, even professional journalists, they don't know about this. That besides the concentration camps, were plain death camps, which were death factories, like an assembly line factory, like Ford, Chrysler, you know, the way assembly line worked. When, for Christian Paul or whoever, for him would be the last terrible thing to be sent out to a concentration camp. For a Jewish boy, he was young and healthy, it was really helping to save his life. And so from Auschwitz, about 200,000 were saved. But in that camp, zero, there were only people working in this death factory. I will tell you my story, my way to this place. I hope you will find an answer for the still debated question. How was it possible to kill so in a fast 17 months period actually, so many millions of people? The genocide was possible because first of all, the involvement of the state, careful planned deception, and above all, the blindness of other states, including America, to the true nature of a racist state. Common sense and human emotions refuse to believe that such thing is possible. And when finally the Jews realized that they really being taken to gas chambers and killed, very few of them were still alive. And this is the reason we fought so back, so late, when not many of us were alive. We had no weapons, we didn't have bread. The people now know very little about Jewish resistance, and I'm here. I try to make you aware of a small part of it, the uprising in the dead camp Sobibor, the biggest and most successful revolt of any Nazi camp. He killed the Nazis and he escaped. And now I will tell you my private story, and I hope you will understand me, my accents, and I tried my best. I'm born in a little town called Izbica. It's not a town, it's a little, like a village. Were mostly, it was 95% Jewish. The only Christian Pole was the postmaster, teacher, the burgermeister. And we did live together in the same house, mostly. And the population was very poor and also very religious, very orthodox. Our neighbors, the Poles, Ukrainians, we did live in, if not in a special harmony, peaceful, we helped each other. I remember, I've seen some time on the fences written, this is before the war, written, done by from Jews to Palestine, but that was all. Now, the war started, the Germans coming to Izbica. In the beginning it wasn't so bad, I mean, occupation is bad, but what's happened later, to compare what's happened later, is a completely different story. Because the Jews speak Yiddish, they spoke Yiddish in Poland, mostly. And the German language is very similar to Yiddish. As a matter of fact, the Yiddish is derived from the German language. So we were able to communicate, the Jews, with the Germans. And this was simple soldiers, so-called Wehrmacht. I remember going to a village, buying from the farmer tobacco leaves. Later on home, I did cut it for little pieces and made cigarettes and sold it to the German soldiers. They didn't need my cigarettes. They had their own, I remember, Juno was their brand name. But they took it, they gave me candies, chocolate sometime. There were some problems. For example, they were looking for Jews to force them for labor, some cleaning the streets, digging ditches for the irrigation. But they took a few Jews, 100, 200, to a place to dig the ditches. After the job was finished, they were released back to the ghetto in Izbica. Time passed, and another type of German arrived in Izbica. Tall fellows, dark uniforms, with a dead skull under the hat, and everything changed. I remember the beginning. They asked for the Judenrat. Judenrat, they are a group of Jews representing other Jews in the ghetto, like in a city hall, the people working there. They were implementing the orders from the Germans. The German told it, so the Germans in Izbica, the soldiers, which I mentioned before, arrived, and they asked the Judenrat, the Jewish elders, to deliver 2,000 Jews for a settlement to the east, because pretty soon German Jews will arrive in Izbica. And whoever will go voluntary will get bread and marmalade on the station. And they have time till 2 o'clock. Pretty soon, people, whole families, parents, kids, walk to the train station. If there would be a journalist from another country not knowing what's going on and observing how the Jews went to the train station, he would maybe have the wrong impression that they are going for a picnic or whatever, because they went over there to the train station for the mostly for the bread and to eat something. When they were on the station, they would see this bread, marmalade, they eat. After they eat, they were told to go in the wagons, and the train left. A day passed, 2, 3, no news. Where did the plane stop? The plane stopped. 3 weeks later again, the Germans had come in, the SS, we call the SS, special formation, and they asked again 2,000 Jews to be resettled to the east. But at that point, the Jews felt it's something wrong. A resettlement, but where? So many of the Jews were hiding under the floor, some cellars, double walls. And when the SS collected the 2,000 Jews, they took them to the train station, this time with a guard, Ukrainian guard, and they were forcefully pushed to the train, and the train left. But this time, he engaged a group of Polish people. Gajos was the leader. Before the war, he was a bandit known. But now, he promised that for money, he could help the Jews. I will come to it later. I will skip a little bit. Slowly, Izbica emptied. There were no more Polish Jews. But as soon as I said before, transport from German Jews arrived and took over the houses. They wrote letters home to the parents or maybe husband, wives, that okay, we are in Izbica, is the way the Germans promised. Izbica is the east. It's difficult, but he could manage to enter the war. He sent the letters to Germany. This was a special German trip. Went to Germany. In Germany, when some Jews received a note to go to the train station for a settlement, he was relaxed. He or his friend received a letter from the people which were earlier sent. So they didn't have difficulties to collect people in Germany to settle to Izbica. In Izbica there were about 2 or 3 weeks and sent to the gas chambers of Belgium and Sobibor. It's a different story. Anyway, slowly the amount of Jews went down. There were maybe 500 Jews. Transport arrived from France, from Holland. And again, it was about 20,000. It's like a play, musical chairs. I remember in November 1942, my mother called me to her room and said, "Toivi, you are leaving today to Hungary." I said, "Ma, what do you mean Hungary?" You see, I was actually a village boy. For me, Izbica was the center of the world. I heard, many times I heard about big cities like Lublin, Ottawa, where the life is different. In Izbica, you want light, you had a kerosene lamp, kerosene, and you light it, and you go a little bit winter time, because you try to save in kerosene. I heard in big cities, there simply you go to the wall, you push something, you have light, electrical light. I heard also about water, the same thing. You need water, you go to the wall, throw something, water. You had water. In Izbica, you want water, you went to, there were about 5 wells in one pump, Pamiętam, I remember. and or you had a little bit money, you had a half mentally ill guy, and he did drink twice a day in water, which I remember you put this in a big container and at home you have water for a whole day. I had even more fantastic that the big cities have toilets in the apartments. No, this was too much. Toilets in the apartment doesn't smell? How could it be? In Izbica, I remember I had my beloved place in the mountain. Izbica was like a valley and around by mountains. So many times I didn't make it in time. I was a boy. There were about 8 outhouses. If you need to go to the toilet, you run. This was Izbica, but I love it with my whole heart. Now my mother told me, you will go tonight to Hungary. I never stepped out a step outside Izbica. Why Hungary? Because we were aware that in Hungary the Jews are living relatively peaceful. And this was true. The killing of the Hungarian Jews started in 1944 when they took them to Auschwitz. But 1942 was quiet. So the dream of the Polish Jews, at least in Izbica, was how could I manage to be in Hungary. So now, there was a group, as I mentioned before, of Polish people, about 5 or 6 of them, under the leadership of Gajos. We were aware that he is a character, not the best one, but he don't have a choice. He declared that for money, he is able to smuggle Jews to Hungary from Poland. So that's what my mother meant. She paid Gajos, how much she asked, I don't know, to include me in the next group going to Hungary. He take to Hungary. And 2 o'clock in the night time, we should move out from the ghetto. So I said to my ma, well, did you hear the rumors in the town? That Gajos is taking the group of Jews to the, close to the Hungarian border, walk with them for about a half an hour or so in the forest, and at a point Gajos told them, now, luckily we made it without problems to Hungary. You are now in Hungary. Sign your letter that you are in Hungary, so your parents or your brothers, sisters, your family should pay me for it. And when the Jews signed, they were killed and everything was taken away from them. They were the rebels. And my mother said, Toivi. Toivi is my Yiddish name, they call me this way in Poland. My mother said, Toivi, listen, here we are waiting to die. No question. We are waiting to die. Hungary, Gajos, at least you have a hope that rumors are only rumors, are not true. Choose whatever you want. I was thinking for a minute and said, Ma, I'm going to Hungary. So Ma took a piece of paper, gave it to me and said, Toivi, this is a birth certificate of a Polish boy, Christian boy, who died a few days ago. And the Burgermeister, the mayor of the city, a good friend of yours, of your dad, didn't cross him off that the boy died. Instead he took the birth certificate, my dad should save me. Take it and learn your new name. I take the piece of paper, start immediately to learn my name. Waldemar Ptaszek was my name. And the mother's name is Stankiewicz. I learned everything. I was waiting, 2 o'clock. I said goodbye to my parents, to my little brother. Went to my neighbor's house, because over there everyone was collected. And I have seen about 8 people, Jews, waiting to go with Gajos. There was a girl, it was a beautiful girl, and I remember the night in the cover of the night, we made it out from Izbica, from the ghetto, to the train station. In small places like Izbica, the train station is a little shack, and, you know, some bushes around. We hid in the bushes. The train arrived. We jumped in the last wagon. We were on our way to Hungary. We didn't make it. What's happened? This girl I mentioned, the 70-year-old girl, so from the beginning, from Izbica, was standing in the wagon, looking outside the window, like that, pretending she's observing the scenery. Actually, she was hiding her face. She was a beautiful girl, but she had typical, I would say, Jewish characteristics, features. Maybe the nose was a little bit too big. She has dark curly hair, dark eyes. In Poland, if he was looking for a Jew, she could be easily recognizable. So she was standing watching the panorama. Now the German conductor comes and checks the tickets, so she turned around, showed him the ticket, everything was fine. Probably one of the fellow travelers recognized her, because a few minutes later 2 Ukrainian policemen arrived and asked her for the papers and took her away. At this point I made a basic mistake. I was 50.5 years old. I remember sweating. I wasn't able to open the eyes from the sun. I was afraid. And I pretended that I'm reading a paper. I don't know even if I hold the paper right, maybe upside down, but I hold the paper, pretending I'm reading. And probably I was standing out like a sore thumb. Because here everybody's talking, oh, maybe there are more Jews, and you know, the poor girl, whatever. And here's a guy like nothing happened. Because in a few minutes somebody ripped the paper in front of my face. I look up and there's a Ukrainian policeman. Papers, I'm giving the papers, the birth certificate. That's your name? Valdemar Tashik. Like I said, I want with the pictures of paper, and I told him, I'm 15 years old, so I'm not required to have a identification of the picture. You're Jewish? No. You are. I'm not. You are. I'm not. I realize the consequences if I admit. So in Poland, there was a way to find out if the man is Jewish. They checked if he's circumcised. So, in that time, my nose was a little bit shorter. You know, and the nose is growing every year till you die. My hair were blonde. Now they're a little bit gray, not a little bit, a lot. And so, he wasn't sure I'm Jewish or not. Come to the toilet. In the toilet, he looks down, looks at me. I say, he's confused, his face is confused, looks again. And later, the second policeman was in the end of the wagon. So, later he said, he calls his friend, his second one, Ivan, ходи сюда. Ivan comes, and Ivan looks, and Ivan is some confused. Why? I tried to fix the down about 3 weeks before this happening. I tried to do anything I could to save myself, and I tried to fix the damage the rabbi did do to me. I amended the circumcision. It didn't help. The only result was I'm done with a string, with a stone, heavy. It's too difficult to explain. But the only result was from this trying this stuff that everything was swollen. And this is the reason he didn't recognize. He didn't recognize. I myself didn't recognize. And they arrested me. Now to tell you, I must skip a half a year because it's too much to talk, and we would need to sit too late. I'll just tell you that I was 6 months in jail. I managed some way to get out. I don't try to sell you my book. You could take it from the library. But I've written 2 books which tell the story. This one, this is another one actually published by the Northwestern University here in Illinois. This could tell you more. I managed to get out from jail to a jail hospital. From jail hospital I managed to escape. Yes. And I went to the ghetto in the city of Stri, past Lvov, past and wrote a letter home that I'm alive and I want to come back. And anyway, I asked for money and I didn't get an answer. My parents are still in Istvica. Pretty soon my parents sent a German officer to take me back to Istvica. The officer's name was Julius Krause. He was a Volksdeutsch which did come with another group of Germans to Istvica, and I didn't know him before, and he helped me before when I was in ghetto. I cleaned his motorcycle, he gave me chocolate. So it looked like my father did pay him, because he did come to Stri, to the ghetto. He did go straight to the place where I did live, and said, Toivi, I take you back to Istvica. And I said, okay. 2 o'clock at night time, with his help as a German officer with his swastika. There was no problem to go out from the ghetto. We got to the train station. Now, if about 15, he goes into the cashier, about 15 minutes he comes back. Toivi, there's a train, and I have a permit to go with you to Istvica on that train. But there are a lot of smugglers there, different types, mostly Ukrainians, because Lvov is also already the Ukrainian center. If you go over there and they will recognize you, and you will have problems, I would be able to help you anymore. Second way is, right now, in about 20 minutes, is leaving a train to Lublin from the Eastern Front with sick soldiers to the Lublin hospital. With me, you could go in and we take place, and you could manage to Istvica more safely than in other wagons. So he take me to the train. I agreed. Yes, I go rather with the German train. I remember going in the compartment. There was a woman in a German uniform sitting, and there were 2 SS with his schools, and there was a couple of soldiers. This was all. To make it short, the train left for Istvica, and Istvica went out, and the German forgot to tell me that we moved to another place. We live in another house. So I run to my house, to my apartment, knock on the door. Who is it? Oh, I thought it was my dad. So I said, oh, it's me, Daddy. And I hear a voice, you dirty Jew, run! I said, oh, I recognize that somebody else is in our house. So please tell me where we live now. So he told me where. I went to another house, knocked on the window, and my brother, I could hear his voice. It was night, and the window had shutters, you can look through. But I heard my brother's voice, Daddy, this is Toivi, this is Toivi. The door was opened, and of course I was together with my family. I asked my dad what's happened, and he told me the story. You see, there were 2 words which were terrible. I was shaking when I heard this. One word is akcja, action. Action was called, the roundup of Jews was called, action, tomorrow's akcja. Wagons are waiting. But akcja was, the Germans did find about 1,000 Jews and took them to the train station. The train left, it was finished, they entered action. People which successful were hiding could go out now in like normal until the next action. So actually I have a chance to survive. But the second revolt was Judenrein. This was the end of it. Because the Judenrein, after taking the Jews to the train, this Visa should be completely without Jew. Everybody could kill the Jew, could do everything if you could find him. And this is it, this is the end. So why was it so terrible? Because even the people which did successful hide, how long could it be the hiding place? Could be a day, 2, 3. You need to eat, you need to go to the toilet. In the end you must go out. So hiding doesn't make sense. Because also, when the Germans will leave, our neighbors will come in our apartments and take the chair, take the clock apart, everything which is not home. Because I remember once we were going to the station, we did survive, they didn't take us in that time, but my mommy left the room, she did burn candles, I remember, and we left everything. So if the neighbor or some people go in, they will find you finally. And you'll be killed and beaten. So without any guards. People go to the train station. My father did go, my mother. But what's happened? In Izbica was a very famous tannery producing exceptional good leather, so-called Gemza. And a lot of SS officers from Krasnista, Zamość, Tan, and Izbica had orders for shoes, for this stuff. And so they left 200 Jews to work in the tannery, the rest out. And they were able to move on the tannery. This way, my father, my mother, my brother, when the transport left, were left in the tannery when I arrived. I remember the talk in this tannery. Oh, they're killing Jews, but they wouldn't touch us because we are specialists in leather. German need leather, our army need leather. So we will work, they wouldn't kill us. Unfortunately, I remember the day of April 28, 1943, when a rifle shot woke me up. I was sleeping in the attic, and I looked down the window, and the whole tannery was surrounded by Germans and Ukrainians. And I realized that this is the last day of my life. I was apprehended by a German and take me outside. Outside the tannery, I've seen a group of Jews surrounded by soldiers, Ukrainians. And the German pushed me in there. And I was inside and no hope anymore. What could I do? I've done everything I could, and now this is the end. Now the Ukrainian guard was standing next to me. Actually his boots touched my boot. He wanted to smoke a cigarette. He take the match, well, the wind blowed out. The second one blowed out. The third one blowed out. Finally, he picked up the collar of his coat, turned the head away from the wind, and lighted a cigarette. When I have seen this, that his head is turned away, I thought myself, now's the chance. I slipped out and mingled with the onlookers. There were Polish people, a group, maybe 30, 40, just looking. And I mingled with them. Everybody didn't know me, nobody betrayed me. But I know, nevertheless, I'm in a very dangerous position. While I'm looking around, I see my good friend, Janek Knapczyk. I said, oh, Janek, please, save me. Janek said, of course, go to the barn. Not far was his house in a barn. I go to the barn, and the gate to the barn was a big padlock, can't go in. So I walk around, maybe some panel is broken, when a woman standing higher a little bit on a uphill start to yell, Toivi, run, run Toivi, run. What's happened? He's coming. Who is coming? Yannick is coming. If Yannick is coming, why should I run? He will open the bar and let me in. But why is she so excited? Why is she so practically shaking, the Polish woman? Through my head, and there's Yannick, with a German. Take him, he's a Jew. And of course, the Ukrainian with his bayonet, go. And I went. Yannick yelled, Toivi, I see you in a shelf in a soap store. Why? In that time was a rumor that the Germans are making soap from the human fat, which wasn't true. There were some experiments in Gdańsk, but there wasn't commercialized soap from human fat. But the rumor was like that going on. So what he meant that he will see me as a piece of soap. Okay. And I was he took me, the soldier, to the marketplace. I've seen my parents, I've seen my little brother. I've seen two trucks. In the front of one truck there was a jeep, soldiers, machine gun. After the two trucks, again a jeep, soldiers. The trucks were covered with canvas. Told us to go in. We went in. And the convoy, about 3 o'clock, had the order to move on. And they moved in the northern direction where Sobibor was. You see, you could take everything away from any human. One thing will always be left. What? Hope. And because the 70 kilometers from Izbica to the gas chambers of Sobibor was only 70 kilometers, which is about 40 miles. So the hope was in this 75 kilometers were two exits to concentration camps, Osoba and Trawniki. So now a different type of truck in the trucks, dark trucks. Oh, for sure they will take us to concentration camp. We are young people, specialists, we produce leather. Fortunately, the truck, they were passing Osoba and they didn't turn. And again a voice, oh, Osoba was a small concentration camp. For sure Trawniki, some big concentration camp, a sugar factory, and a leather factory, for sure there. The trucks go on, and again, cross the exit to Trawniki, and I still remember the mass, no hope. And now we know that the next stop will be Sobibor. And now again I talk, young people, let's fight back. Let's not go to death peaceful. Let's fight for our life. Take them a few with us, the Germans. And again, voices from family members like my father. No, either way we will die. Let's die as a family. Families. And so the truck come to a stop, Sobibor. This place was so secret that the soldiers, which did bring me there, were ordered immediately to leave this place before they opened the gate. Soldiers left, and I remember standing in front of a green fence. Why it was green, I did find out later. It was actually a, it's okay. It was actually a barbed wire fence interwoven with young pine branches, so you can look through. There's a big gate with a name, Sonderkommando SS, which means Special SS Command. And I was again afraid. I didn't know about the hell from the religion in the school, from the teacher, how terrible hell is. And I imagine they opened the gate from Sobibor, it will be, I will see a hell, because how could it be gassing, impaling, and burning people? It must be a hell. When they will open, I will see people in ditches with fire, and maybe even devils. The gate opened, we go in, the gate closed, I look around, and again, a ray of hope. Not at all as the way I imagined. It did look like a nice village, nice. In the left side, we were standing on the road. In the left side of the road were nice Tyrolean type houses for the Germans with fancy names. The commandant's house, which still stands there, the name was Schwalbenest, Swallow's Nest. The next one was Gottes Heimat, God's house, for flowers. A nice, and the right side was a place where the railroad was pushed in. There's a nice platform, flowers. But this was not for Polish Jews, the fake train station inside. This was for Jews from foreign transports, because the Polish Jews didn't know what Sobibor meant. Now, a German, same here, the commandant was standing there, one of the commandants, and this is made after the war. I had an interview with him. This German, Karl Frenzel, yelled, women and children one side, men on the other side. I was 15.5 years old. In that age, you could go either way as a child, you could be considered a child, or so I was at that time with my ma, so I said goodbye to her in a way which is painful for me every time I think about this. What was it? A day before the ghetto, I was very thirsty and asked my ma, could I take a little bit of milk? We had a little bit of milk in the icebox. She said yes. So I took a little bit of milk, the bottle. I was drinking, and probably I did drink too much, because at that point my mother said, Toivi, tomorrow's another day. She meant I should leave it. So okay, so now when I was at goodbye, father kissed the son or the girl and so on, I said goodbye to Ma. What did I say? I said, Ma, you told me tomorrow's another day. It's like accusing you for deception. Anyway, and she said, that's all you could say, and this way we parted. I went to my father. Now, after this election, the women and children were ordered to go further. There was another fence, a green fence. I've seen the fire. I didn't see what was burning, because I've seen everything above the fence. Now, men are left, and I am with the men. The difference between a concentration camp and a death camp is also this, that a death camp didn't make any selections. You went straight to the gas chamber. Exceptional, when a lot of us were committed suicide, hanged themselves. After 3-4 months, the amount from 600 dropped to 400. So once in a while, we took out a group of people to fill in the quota, to work in the camp, when a transport arrived. So when my transport arrived from Izbica, they didn't need people. So the Frenzel goes and asks, who's a carpenter, who's a builder, and people pick up their hand and that, and he took them out. Me, 15.5-year-old, a boy like that goes to school. I mean, I didn't have a trade, but I want to live. And beg God. At that time I still did pray. God help. And I believe that I had stories that it's happened with, let's say, a daughter is very sick, and the mother 1,000 miles away could feel there's some way, like radio waves, that people sometimes could understand each other without talking. Lovers, they didn't need to say a word. I tell it from my experience. And they understand each other. So anyway, I believe that, otherwise I can't explain this. A young boy and friends go back and forth. At a point, our eyes met, and I said, God, help. And he said, come on, ask the Kleiner, you will be my Shushan boy. Come out, little one. And I was included in the 40 people. The whole group later, my father included, went straight the way the woman went to the gas chamber. This way, I started to work in Sobibor. Now, there's a lot of people, groups, organizations, who are saying the Holocaust never happened, or maybe a couple thousand Jews were killed, even Poland. Actually, if you punch my name in the internet, between all my information about me, you will see another communique saying that I'm lying, everything that I said. Anyway, yes, you live in a democracy, you could say. So, isn't there people saying it never happened? To kill so many people, and most of them in a matter of 17 months, impossible. It's possible, it is, if you don't know that you're going to die. So, I will tell you the process very shortly of a Dutch transport, 3,000 people from Holland coming to Sobibor. The train is pushed in, because Sobibor was a little bit in the forest. The train is pushed in, people are going out with heavy luggage, which we did help them to take out from the wagons. And the German said, please leave the luggage here, it will be delivered to you later. You have nicely written the addresses, each particular bag, and go straight to a big yard. In this big yard, there was an assessment dressed in a white uniform, pretending to be a doctor. It's him, Herman Mitchell, this guy. Anyway, he had a short talk. He apologized nicely for the 3-day trip from Holland. Difficult trip, but now take a look. You're in a beautiful place, flowers, trees. You will be here till the end of the war. But for sanitary reasons, to protect against the typhus or whatever, you must have a shower. So please undress, put the clothing in order, and to go to the shower. And sometimes the people get bravo. He talked so nice, undressed, with his clothing in order, and went straight between Bavarias. He called this piece of alley Himmelfahrtstraße, the road to the heaven. And he went straight to the gas chamber. I'm sure that being in the gas chamber, when the first fumes had come from the shower heads, they probably were thinking that is of malfunction. Something is malfunction, but it was too late to do anything. 20 minutes later, they were dead, taken to be burned. This was the whole process. When a transport arrived, let's say 2,000 people, the people could cover the few Germans and Ukrainians with their hat. Altogether, there were about 150 Germans and Ukrainians. But there was no way to tell the people going to die that they will kill you. They wouldn't believe it. Simple like that. So they went straight and they were killed. This was, the Sobibor on one way out was the chimney, the job between ourselves. October 14, we revolted. What's happened? We'll take a few minutes and tell you. We were Polish Jews in Sobibor, young people. We didn't know about guns, about rifles, about mines. We were peaceful people. But now they bring a transport from Minsk, from Russia. Most of them were soldiers and officers from the Russian army, which were taken as POWs. And after the Germans checked them, they find out all the Jews and they sent them to Sobibor. When the transport arrived from Minsk, and again, Frenzel didn't need people. A lot of us committed suicide, as I said, and so Frenzel picked up 70 people from transport from Minsk. And this was the mistake, because the 70 people he picked up, healthy people, were mostly officers of the Red Army, which were recognized as a Jew and taken. Now, one of the conspirators, the Polish Jews, recognized the possibility, get in contact with the Russian Jews, and 3 weeks later, we revolted, killed the Germans, and escaped. Killed the Germans, we didn't have weapons, so we used a lure. I, for example, did go to one German, told him, stood attention, put your hand down, and told him, Herr Oberscharführer, which is the military rank, we have a beautiful leather coat. We did by sorting the clothing, we find this leather coat will be exactly your size. Would you like to go to the storeroom number 5? I put it away there. And he went, and over there we were waiting for him 3 prisoners, and killed them with knives and took the gun. But the order was for the organization not to use the gun, so not to alarm the rest of the officers, or the German officers, until we killed them all, or as many we could. And so slowly they were invited in the shoe shop, the cobblers were walking, they were invited to different places, and they were killed. This was the first phase of the revolt. Now, the second phase should be when they have the guns. We should inform the rest of prisoners, because only about 50 prisoners were involved, didn't know about something. And the second phase to tell all the prisoners, take them together, and to tell them that they are revolting and have an open revolt. This was the plan. Now what I will do, I will show you a 17 minutes segment, edited version of the film Escape from Sobibor, showing me, my activity. I am played by an English actor, James Snowman, and they called me Toivi, the way they call me Isvica. And later you could ask me any question, and I'd be glad to answer.
In 1942, SS Chief Heinrich Himmler initiated Operation Reinhardt, Nazi Germany's final solution to the Jewish question. 3 death camps were built and staffed under top-secret orders. These camps, all in eastern Poland, were Belzec, Treblinka, and the most secret, Sobibor. Sobibor. It was here, on October the 14th, 1943, that the biggest, most successful prisoner revolt in World War II took place. This is that story.
We're SS, we're the elite. We do not foul ourselves in Jewish filth.
The British bombed Hamburg again. And again, I'm lucky. My wife and kids are all right, thank God.
Just be glad you're in a safe place. Look at us, proud defenders of the right.
Don't talk like that. My father was killed in the First War, doing his duty for the fatherland. And we are doing our duty for the Führer here. That's as honorable as being on a battlefield.
He's right.
Battlefield. You're crazy. What do you do? Sit in your little booth and turn on the gas. Valve on. Wait 20 minutes. Valve off. Big job. It takes great courage. Bauer, how many Jews did you guess today?
Don't talk about that in front of them.
They don't hear anything, do you?
Sorry, sir.
I didn't hear you.
See? They are deaf. How old are you?
15, sir.
15? My son is 12. I hope he lives to be 15. I mean, if a Jew can't, why can't he?
What's your name?
Toivi, sir.
Toivi. Get me another beer.
Yes, sir.
Get this butcher out of here!
We just found out that Captain Reichleitner and Wagner left today for a 3-day trip. Leon and I have come to a decision.
We escape tomorrow.
At last.
Oh, God.
Now let us go over the details. The killings will start at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Until then, it's a normal day. Leon will be in charge of Compound 2. I will be in Compound 1. Porchek, you will arrange for me and 2 of my men to be in the carpenter shop. And Toivi will run his little legs off, carrying messages between us.
Have you seen Sergeant Frenzel?
No.
Where is Frenzel?
Outside the sergeant's barrack.
Do you know where he is to be killed?
Yes, the carpenter shop.
Do not get him in there before I tell you.
You ready?
Yes. Take us to the clothing store. I'll pick up Monday on the way.
Right.
Sergeant Wolf, I've been looking for you. Taylor Mundak has found a beautiful leather coat for you. If you could stop in the clothing store, sir. He says it'd just take a minute.
All right, in a minute.
Good afternoon, sir.
The Putzer told me you have a leather coat for me.
Yes, sir. I think you're going to like it very much, sir. I might have to let it out at the waist. It's a beautiful leather, sir. Very expensive.
Handsome. Very handsome. Good. You can fit me at the tailor tomorrow.
But, sir, would you like to see how it looks now?
It begins. There's no turning back now.
Sergeant Beckman, I've been looking for you. The Taylor Mundak has found a beautiful jacket for you. If you could stop in the clothing store, sir. He says it'll just take a second.
A jacket? Who said I wanted a jacket?
I don't know, sir. But the tailor said it would be perfect for you.
All right. I'll look at it.
There are 2 dead so far, Sergeant Wolf and Corporal Klatt. I thought we had Sergeant Beckman, but he walked away. Sergeant Frenzel, they'd like to see you in the carpenter shop at 4:30.
Why?
To pick the colour of the stain for your bookcase.
To pick the color? Why didn't that idiot ask me when I was in there yesterday?
I don't know, sir. Should I tell him 4:30?
No. I'll be there when I decide to be there. Today, tomorrow, or whenever.
You. Yes, sir. Take my horse to the stable. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Are my boots ready?
Yes, sir.
I hope you'll be pleased with them, sir.
I want to try them on.
Yes, sir. By all means, sir. Please.
Hello? Hello?
Everybody in line! Stop here, power! Lehman is dead in the shoe shop, and Foster, both murdered. No. Stop! Stop! We'll never make it to the front gate now.
Listen to me! Our day has come.
Those of you who survive, bear witness. Let the world know what has happened here. God is with you. Now let nothing stop you. Leah, move! Save yourself! Save yourself! You're free! The gate is down! Move! Move up! Move! Move! Come on, Leah! Get up! Get up! Move! Leah! Move! Leah! Come on, we must go! Leah! Come on! Cover me! Get up, Frank! Get up, Samuel! We're almost at the woods! Get up!
Over 300 prisoners escaped safely to the forest. Toivi, with 2 other boys, was hidden by a Polish farmer who eventually shot them for their money. With a bullet in his jaw, Toivi pretended to be dead but managed to stay alive to liberate it. Thomas Toivi Blatt, married and has 3 children. Today he lives in Santa Barbara, California. Yet he returns each year to Sobibor in remembrance of his family who died there. October the 14th, 1943, Sobibor, a Nazi death camp where over 250,000 Jews were killed. But in the revolt that day, over 300 of the 600 prisoners made it to freedom, something which had never happened before and would never happen again in World War II. Within days, SS Chief Himmler ordered the camp closed, dismantled, and planted with pine trees. In that forest now stands this monument to the dead. It is also a reminder of the valiant fighters of Sobibor, who were among those who began to make the idea and the vow never again a reality.
I didn't really expect that we will survive, because the Sobibor with mines, with barbed wires, but we with hard weapons basically fought with the SS. We did accomplish. We succeeded in our revolt and escape. About 320 initially escaped. About 52 survived the war.